The vibes this morning from the conference were excellent. I sat in on a couple of very, very good sessions. People coming in, they were really good. Congratulations on what you're doing here and these throughout Colorado. It's wonderful. My job at the University of Central Florida is to evaluate the impact of technology on students, on faculty, on administrators, on the community, on the staff, on the squirrels on campus, whatever. And I've been doing it for 20 years. I've been doing it for 20 years. And it reminds me of my favorite Russian parable. When you dance with a bear, you can't quit when you're tired. A lot is happening. What it was 20 years ago is absolutely not what it is today. What it will be 2 years from now is not what it is today. You know it and I know it. It is changing rapidly, rapidly, rapidly. So I'm doing this. So how did I get involved in this? Well, you already heard, I teach a deadly topic. Deadly. Multivariate research. But when I graduated from the University of Wisconsin, I thought I was the smartest person in the world. I was walking down Bascom, you know how that is, finish a PhD, woo. Walking down Bascom Hill with Chet Harris, my mentor, and he said, the most difficult course you're ever going to teach, are we okay with that, Mike? The most difficult course you're ever going to teach is beginning statistics. I said, oh no, Chet, it's gonna be so easy. Don't do it, I'll just coast through all that. Because students came into that course with no background, none. And I had to teach the concept of a sampling distribution to them. You quants out there know what I'm talking about. Totally blew it for 10 years. Totally blew it. And you know the feeling when you teach, when you've nailed it? Do you know what I'm saying? You nailed it. It's wonderful. And you know what it's like when you blow it? St. Augustine's got a great quote. I thought I understood it until I tried to teach it. Has that ever come home to haunt you? Have you ever been there talking and you know you didn't have anything to say? They didn't know it, but you knew it, right? I'm sure it never happens at MSU or in Colorado, but it happens in Florida all the time. Cliff Morris, the chairman of the math department at Valencia Community College, came to me and said, Chuck, the sampling distribution thing is not going too well. Is it? I said, oh no. He said, I've done something for you. I've made a VHS tape. You remember VHS, possibly? And what it was an animated demonstration of a sampling distribution being built. Population variance, sampling distributions. And he said, why don't you play it for them? And I did. And I did. And they said, oh, play it again. And I did. And they said, is that all there is to it? I said, yeah. And they said, oh, that's fairly easy. And I said, damn it. Because I've been trying to teach the concept for 10 years, and one video did it for me. And now on YouTube or wherever you want to go, you see much better. Khan Academy, they're wonderful. But the interesting thing also is the level of conversation changed in the course. It no longer became heuristic. Now it is crank in the numbers and crank out the numbers. What does it mean? Why? Tell me about this. Very, very interesting. So, with that background, let me read this to you. The US market for self-paced learning predicts a 22% compound decrease in the number of students attending traditional classrooms exclusively, and an 11% increase in students taking online or blended courses. The number of students taking classes exclusively on campus will decline from 14.4 million in 2012 to 4.1 million 5 years later. Hyperbole? Maybe. Truth? Maybe. But something is going on. Something is absolutely going on. Okay. This theme is quality. I believe in quality. Quality matters. Get it? Get it? Get it? All right. People have pushed me my whole life for a definition of quality. And my take is definitions are neither right or wrong. They're either useful or they're not. So, but I'm going to give you a definition of quality. Are you ready? Your program or course has quality if it demonstrates clarity, authenticity, utility, suspense, depth, economy, proportion, brilliance, vividness, sensitivity, emphasis, authority, flow, and precision. How you measure it, I haven't a clue. Here's your information fluency assignment. If during this talk on your smartphone you can tell me where that definition came from, I will give to you free of charge, our new book on blended learning research. Okay? Tell the answer to Michael Erskine. He doesn't know the answer yet, but tell the answer to him. You will get it. It's interesting where that came from. Okay. This is the University of Central Florida. I use this to torture people in Minnesota. 1970, I drove up to a 5-building university, Florida Technological University, in a sand pit in East Central Florida, coming from the University of Wisconsin in a red Volkswagen with my wife. She turned to me and said, "What the hell have you done?" And I said, "Oh, no, baby, this has all kinds of potential. Don't worry about it, and I'll be at Stanford in 2 years." I'm beginning to think the Stanford thing might not work out. Today, UCF has 60,000 students, the second largest university in the country, second only to ASU, which is the largest university in the country. There is no way we could survive without technology. The good news is we're growing. What's the bad news? We're growing. You know what I'm saying. You're saying, I'm going to show you a scary, scary graph. Okay? This is the graph of our growth rates over the years. The red, yellow, and green is technology-based learning. The blue is face-to-face learning. Do you see what's happening to our institution? Do you see the rate of those curves? What is happening to face-to-face? It's flat. What is happening to technology? It's growing gangbusters. Push that out 5 years. That is really quite amazing, isn't it? It's time for us to do some strategic planning, because we're not what we were 20 years ago. In 5 years from now, can you see what's going to happen to us? And it could happen here. It could happen here. Okay. This thing is coming unglued, the classroom. If anyone in their life believes that when they close the door to that thing called the classroom, that's it. This is from Clay Shirky at New York University. You remember this? We lectured. Remember out to them? Remember that? That was kind of nice. We lectured Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and came back, and it was real nice. It was a nice thing. But then this happened. They wanted to start talking to us. They wanted to text us. They wanted to call us. It got really annoying. They wanted to email us. They wanted access to us. And then, by God, this happened. They began talking to each other about us. And then it happened more. And then, my gosh, they started talking to the world about us. Believe me. If you don't believe me, go on YouTube and search drunk professor. Search stoned professor. Search boring professor. And hope you don't find yourself. Because I'm there. And you find out which category am I in. This comes from Clay Shirky. Here comes everybody. This is the way it is. There is no bounded classroom ever again. Let me give you a couple of examples. My good friend Gardner Campbell at Mary Washington, playwright, teaching a play in a theater class. The kids are blogging about the play. The playwright is cruising the internet looking for his name, finds the blog, joins the blog for the remainder of the semester. Now, how cool is that? You're blogging with the playwright. Did that ever happen 20 years ago? Never. Okay? Bob Bledsoe, an old curmudgeon like me, he retired. Advice from Chuck, never retire. It's awful, I lasted 38 days. Okay? He wanted to come back. Political science. He said, Bob, the only way you come back if you teach blended courses. Oh no, God, no, I don't want. He had to teach blended. So he's in the face-to-face section teaching blended, looking at laptops, assuming they're on Facebook. Teaching Vietnam, hand shoots up and says, Dr. B, there are tanks in Bangkok. What's all that about? The kid brought the revolution, the coup in Thailand, into the class. Brought it in from outside. Whoa. I wrote a paper in the Psych Bulletin in 1974 that's been cited, God knows how many times. It's a great paper. Unfortunately, I dropped a minus sign in one of the formulas. You know how that happens? You know how when you publish, the typos turn red and start blinking? So I'm in class teaching my methods. Hand goes up, Chuck! Isaac Bizar said you dropped a minus sign in one of the formulas. Is that right? Called out in class, real time. Called out. I have a website for my multivariate class. Kid comes up to me and said, Chuck, this is hypothetical, but there's somebody at Michigan who teaches this class. And his website's a lot better than yours. He uses Flash. He uses all these kinds of things. You know the points you're trying to make? He's really got some good things. Why don't you go take a look at it, Chuck? So that's what we're dealing with. These are some of them, and I've heard this morning I don't need to explain one of these things. You know these better than I do. But I'm a big fan of Jay Forrester at MIT, Complex Systems and Systems Dynamics. 3 adages. You cannot anticipate how an intervention will ripple through a complex system. This is a complex system, MSU. 2, the results will be counterintuitive very often. And 3, there will be negative and positive side effects, and you must deal with them. Have you ever raised children? Then you understand negative and positive side effects. Let me give you an example. An absolute must-read for you. Well, 2 of them. One is Clement Roberts, The Unnatural History of the Sea, talking about changing baselines. What Clement Roberts did is a stunning book. As we look at the changes in the biomass of the sea, he went back 500 years and documented it, basically saying you have no idea what the baseline was because you only look 1 or 2 generations back. Mind-blowing book. New book by Stephen Johnson. Do you know Stephen Johnson? I want to be Stephen Johnson. Or if I can't, I want to be Ray Donovan. Okay. Here's a quote from his new book, How We Got to Now, because he talks about 5 things that changed the world: glass, cold, sound, time, and light. Unbelievable book. Let me quote from this. Gutenberg's printing press created a surge in demand for spectacles, as the new practice of reading made Europeans across the continents suddenly realize that they were farsighted. The market demand for spectacles encouraged a growing number of people to produce and experiment with lenses, which led to the invention of the microscope, which shortly thereafter enabled us to perceive that our bodies were made up of microscopic cells. You wouldn't think the printing technology would have anything to do with the expansion of our vision down to the cellular scale, just as you wouldn't have thought that the evolution of pollen would alter the design of hummingbirds' wings. But this is the way change happens. He documents convincingly that the printing press led to us understanding our bodies at the cellular level. Amazing book. Amazing book. Okay. Counterintuitive. Another book you must read, The Examined Life by Stephen Gross. He's a psychiatrist. This is interesting. Nowadays, we lavish praise on our children. Praise, self-confidence, and academic performance. It is commonly believed rise and fall together. That is, you praise a kid and they're pleased by it. But current research suggests otherwise. Over the past decade, a number of studies on self-esteem have come to the conclusion that praising a child as clever may not help him or her in school. In fact, it might cause her to underperform. Often, a child will react praise by quitting. It's very interesting. All right, those kinds of things. And lastly, side effects. My favorite side effect is the bounty effect. An overlord in Delhi thought there were too many cobras in Delhi, so he offered a bounty on cobra hides. So you know what that created? Cobra farming. People in Delhi began to raise cobras, slaughter them, and turn in their hides. Okay? And he noticed the population of cobras was not going down, so he canceled the bounty, which caused all the farmers to release all of their cobras, which doubled the population in Delhi in less than 10 years. Isn't that interesting? All right. How do we know? Or do we? That was Jackson. Or do we? Okay, here's what I do. Okay, here's what I have to do. Oh my God. All right, here's what I have to do. Here's how I evaluate it. Success. The biggest rub on online blended courses is, do they succeed in them? Actually, not the biggest rub. The biggest rub is the quality of these courses as good as, fill in the blank. As good as, yes, face-to-face, good, back of the class. Hey, I praise you, quit. Okay. Okay. I'm just fascinated that face-to-face courses became the gold standard for quality once online came on board. Right? You know, we had this conversation. Chuck, how am I going to know if I'll be any good online? Are you any good face-to-face? Chances are you'll be good online. Okay? Chances are. Retention. They don't stay, we have to deal with it. Reactive behavior patterns. This is our euphemism for learning styles. What we have done is we have adopted a model from the University of Mississippi Medical School on reactive behavior patterns. That is the training of physicians of adolescents. And prototype adolescent behavior, it works very well for us. Why do we do adolescent behavior? Because there are so many adolescents on campus. And so many of us are faculty members. Okay? We are working hard with this. We have developed a protocol for measurement of this. You're welcome to use it. We are actually now using it in our analytics research to see who will relate better or worse to online blended and lecture capture courses. I have measurement protocols. I have everything developed. The one who answers the question on quality will also get a free copy of William Long's book on reactive behavior patterns. This is quite a keynote. You're going to get a lot of stuff if you can find it. If you can find it. Now, and then the generations. I'll talk quickly about the generations this morning because the generations are running around and they're different. They're different, okay? All right, in the middle, engagement, demographics, strategies for success, information fluency. It's important. Do you know Charles Sheaf? Charles Sheaf's got a new book. He wrote Proofiness and Zero, the biography of a dangerous idea. Mind-blowing book, but he's got a new one called Virtual Unreality. It's really quite interesting. Here's what my faculty say to me. Chuck, this has nothing to do with what's going on in my class. Nothing. It's all that stuff you do for the press and the Board of Governors. And you know what? They're absolutely right. They're absolutely right. So, if you worked at the University of Central Florida, and if your provost is still here, probably not. Provost can't stay any place more than a minute. And be glad you don't live that life. If you worked with me, here's the offer I would make you. If any of you in this audience want to do a solo project on the impact of technology on learning outcomes or any aspect of your teaching or learning, I will help design the study for you. I will do it, my office. I will get the data collection protocols for you. And I will buy them, I will make them, I will borrow them, I will beg them, or I will steal them. I will collect the data for you if you can't or won't do it, and I will give it back to you in publication quality format. I can't write your article, but I have an editor who will turn it into English for you. And I will help you get it published. I will help you get it published. It's your intellectual property. I have a travel budget, and I will send you to your professional conference to present the results of your work. Okay, it's all yours. If you go to Budapest or Lahaina, I will go with you and present. Otherwise, you are on your own. You are on your own. This has created a remarkable subculture of research going on within the disciplines. Within physics, within rhetoric, within education, within English, within nanotechnology, within engineering. Okay, it's going on. Let me give you 3 examples. How do you maintain your persona in the online environment? It's a question. Have you ever done a webinar? Have you ever actually done a webinar? I do webinars all the time, and I suck. I am terrible because I've lost my persona. What's even more tragic is I'm better than most. I'm better than most. We're working on this. And I sat in on a session this morning from Jackson Lamb at MSU, and all you have to do is go listen to him about maintaining your online persona as a teacher. Try sometime just to go articulate what your persona is, what you want to be in that environment. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. Evaluation. Don't they cheat online? Well, duh. Of course they cheat online. We have this very, very difficult situation. We teach you to collaborate and collaborate and collaborate and work in groups and discuss and then take a test by yourself. What's up with that? Okay? Multiple choice tests don't work very well online. Well, duh. Okay? Aaron Lieberman at my campus experiments with something called constructive engagement, which has a remarkable parallel to Quality Matters. Every student who comes into the class from day one evaluates his and his peers' work every day in the class. And they hate it. They hate it until they leave the class and they say, ooh, I actually know how to evaluate outcomes now. It's very interesting, constructing engagement. Aaron Lieberman in theater, no. John Schaefer in theater came to me and said, Chuck, I want to produce the play Antigone. I want half the actors to be at Bradley. I want half the actors to be at UCF. I want half the audience to be at Bradley. I want half the audience to be at UCF. And I want to broadcast it over the internet. And we're saying, what? You want to do that? And he did. He pulled it off. Pulled it off. You know, he produced the play Antigone. Get it? Half the actors were interacting on the internet, 2 different stages, and audiences in 2 different stages. Then he did it on 3 campuses. And he's become a rock star. Instant notoriety. Digital theater. He's celebrated in technology, and in some cases vilified in theater for ruining theater. However, he's done an amazing thing. This is the kind of thing that they've all researched. You all have that capability. All right. Some interesting quality models. Jay Brophy teaches a blended course in psychology. Okay? And his syllabus is this when the kids come in. Speaking of generations, here's the syllabus. Who are you? How did you get that way? Can you change if you want to? Can you change someone else once the bloom is off the rose? What groups do you belong to and why? And why do people do stupid things? That's a syllabus. They love it. And then he says, don't turn it off. Leave it on. And when it rings, he answers it. And he weaves whatever on this into the course. It's mind-blowing. Hello? Oh, yeah. Susie's father? Oh, how you doing? How did her potty training go? Extinguishes more cell phone calls than any other way. Point. This is your technology. You love it. If MSU is anything like UCF or Stanford or Emory or any other school I've been to, they're on this all the time, pinging each other, social networking, talking to each other. Literally. UCF, You know what the acronym is? You can't finish. Because we're so big. In an elevator, riding up with a student, she said, no, it's okay, I'm fine. I asked her what it was about. Somebody was leaving a parking place and was calling everyone on their circle of friends saying, I'm leaving a parking place. I won't go until one of you get there. Would you ever do that? That's how they interact. They love this technology. They don't love Blackboard, and they don't love Canvas. He brings this in. He's as rigorous as anyone on our faculty, but he does it. Here's an interesting guy. This is Bob French at Auburn. Bob French at Auburn teaches public relations, and he said, look, we were never interested in online courses till we realized online hours were billable. Then we got interested in it. So he's developed this, basically a Facebook page, where they write copy, they evaluate each other's in a constructive engagement stuff. The public relations firm in Auburn evaluated, they leave with a portfolio in order to apply for a job. Never take a test. Never take a test. This is a class that I taught with Gardner Campbell in Second Life. This is my section. This is me. This is me teaching the class in Second Life. My graduate students redress me for every class. This one was a Rastafarian. I'm teaching it. These people from all around the world in a class in virtual worlds. There are no boundaries anymore. There are no boundaries. Okay. Student success. Do they succeed? You want to know? I have to do it across campus, so the only thing I have is grades. Does that have anything to do with learning outcomes? Maybe, maybe not. I can't say. The total stuff is learning outcomes. Let me show you some success. All I do is this. If I look at my campus and look at grade distributions across departments, they're wildly different. I would suspect that's true here too. Okay? Depending on whether it's physics or English or education or whatever, the distributions are crazy different, crazy. Depending on some departments who just love failing students, you know, that kind, you know what I'm saying, okay. So here's what I have. These are success rates in 3 modes for a whole lot of students, okay? For blended, for face-to-face, and online. Interpret it, if you get a C or better, you're successful. If you don't get a C, you're not successful. You didn't fail, but you're not successful. This is over a number of years. Here's what it tells you. Time and time again we find this. Overall, that a course that has a combination of face-to-face and online components does 4 to 5% better with success than online or face-to-face. Now, is that significant? Who cares? We're the 100,000, 200,000 students. It is. Okay. The question for department chairs is, if you can leverage 4 or 5% more success rate, what will that mean for you if you can amortize that over 10 years? That's what we do. Here's what it looks like in sciences. It's interesting. The technology is overtaking face-to-face. I'm going fast. By the way, anything I have is yours. This is Creative Commons. These slides will be up. I think you can have them. I have hundreds more. Anything I talked about, you got it. You can take it, please. You can have it. Please take it. Here's humanity. It looks totally different. It doesn't work in humanity. We do follow-up work, and these humanitarians, the philosophers and the English, they're all using so much technology in their face-to-face courses, they're not face-to-face courses anymore. I mean, it's really merely interesting. Generations. There are many generations, and I suspect this is true because of the composition of what you are. Okay? Here's sort of they are. I'm a mature. Damn it. I have a couple fundamental transactional tapes. You know Eric Byrne, games people play? I have 2 transactional tapes running in my head at all times. The narrative of the Great Depression and World War II. They're there. There's nothing I can do to get rid of them. Okay? This has given me values that I take with me. It's not worth it unless you work hard. You know what I'm talking about? Anything that's worthwhile has got to be work. You got to work hard. Okay, all right. And I'm fiercely loyal to my organization. Fiercely loyal. Okay? Take care of John Deere, and John Deere will take care of you. The response of the millennial is, take care of Enron, and Enron will take care of you. In quotes. In quotes. That's the response. Baby boomers? Optimistic, nostalgic for their youth, discovered credit spending, financial future was assured. They went on, and they're going to ruin our economy. Okay? Baby boomers. Oldie goldies are for baby boomers. Generation X, my two children are Generation X. Cynical, don't trust the man. Okay? Everything is going to be personal relationships. That's what it's going to be. And millennials we'll talk about. Neil Howe, the sociologist, has great stories. How many baby boomers does it take to change a light bulb? 11. 10 to sit in a circle and go Om, and 1 to say I am the light. How many Gen Xers does it take? 1. He just says screw it. And how many millennials does it take? And the answer is, oh no, no. Their parents would never let them do anything as dangerous and dirty as changing a light bulb. Humorous, there are value systems underlying that. There really are. There really are in that kind of thing. So, and if you look at this, we are inundated with generational narratives. Absolutely. I can give you 3, but if you go out and look, you can find hundreds. Hundreds. In the New York Times, there was a great op-ed piece that said, where have all the Freemasons gone? And the conclusion was that the average age of Freemasons is comatose. And the conclusion was, stay with me on this, that baby boomers have found a new way to avoid their families. Think about that. It'll take a while, but it'll kick in, trust me. Okay? There's another one. The best one is the one that just went off the air. The E-Trade commercial with the baby in Pampers. Doing trading with Pampers. What's the subtext in that? My generation knows technologies, yours does not. The Onion, the one authoritative source of news in this country, left. Okay, great tagline, eccentric student reads entire book. That's a generational narrative, and they're all over. They're all over. So, my friend Stan McKenzie at RIT, Shakespeare, the provost, a Shakespearean scholar, has a test. 3-question test to determine whether you're a millennial or not. Okay, first question. Who said, I regret that I have one life to give to my country? Who said, I regret that I have one life to give for my country? Nathan Hale. Nathan Hale. Nathan Hale, good. Nathan Hale said it. Okay, all right. If you read McCullum's book, it's really interesting too, because he was a terrible spy. They caught him on the second day, and they said, are you a spy? And he said, yeah. Yeah, literally. Within 10 years, when did he say it? You can guess, 17-something, and you'd be with it. On what day of the week he died? That's the question. So we're up there at RIT talking, well, we know. There's a 1 in 6 chance of guessing because nobody was ever hung in colonial times on Sunday. Everybody knows that. But, oh yeah, I'm sorry. It's scaring me because of feedback. Okay, better? Feedback. All right, fine, be that way. But here it is. If you're my generation, the tape that plays is, I have to research this. I have to research this. I have to research this, and it's going to be hard. I don't do that, what am I going to do? I'm going to Google it. But my tape is playing. You know what I'm saying? My tape is playing. You go to one of the millennials, and I went to Tara, and I said, my graduate student, I said, I'll bet you can't find this. That's a way to motivate a graduate student. I'll bet you can't. She was back in 30 seconds. They hung him on Sunday. They hung him on Sunday. But the thing is, for Stan, is that's the key. The key is how you think about this. So one last thing on this. One last thing. At the University of South Carolina, I said this: I worry about the critical thinking skills of the millennial generation. I got a note back from a student at the University of South Carolina. I'm going to read it to you. Dear Chuck, this is going to go badly. One of the things you said about next generation students is that they have suspect critical thinking skills. An example you used was that they cannot analyze literary figures. But Chuck, is this really the correct way to measure whether someone of my generation has critical thinking skills? I will agree that most of us cannot analyze complex textual material, but how relevant is that to our daily lives? If our livelihood depended on telling you the major literary motifs of 18th century Spanish literature, I'll bet more of us would be able to do it. Doesn't it seem reasonable that our critical thinking skills have been diverted to things that are more relevant to our daily lives, like using an Excel spreadsheet? As you said, someone of the mature generation might sit down and read the manual for a new cell phone. My generation will learn by interaction with the phone itself or through a social network, not by isolating oneself and passively following the narrative of the manual. On a show like 24, there's an enormous social network one must follow in order to understand what's going on. In video games, one must manage a large number of sub-goals that produce multiple paths to a final solution. My main question to you then is this, Chuck. Is the current way or definition of measuring critical thinking skills outdated? Perhaps critical thinking skills should not be measured by the ability to analyze David Copperfield, but rather by the ability to navigate all the features of your new cell phone. Have a nice day, Chuck. So, I thought that was a pretty good example of critical thinking. So the only way I could respond to that is I published it for her. If we look at satisfaction curves of generations on our campus, they all look like this. The least satisfied of our students are the youngest ones. We don't have many boomers running around. They're all provosts. But this is what they look like. All right. Okay, are you satisfied? This is the engagement piece. Let me show you satisfaction curves for students in blended and online courses on our campus. What does this tell you? They love it. They absolutely love it. Jackson mentioned that the first time they assume that it's going to be easy. They take online courses for 3 reasons. What are those reasons? Convenience, convenience, and convenience. Those are the reasons. Okay? If they don't like their online courses, they really are not dissatisfied. They are ambivalent. Do you know what ambivalence is? Let me tell you. You've been here all morning. You haven't had any lunch. You're coming to listen to a keynote speaker in a church. You don't know who he is. You have some ambivalent feelings about coming here. Okay? It is a simultaneous positive and negative, same time. If you've raised children, you've had ambivalent feelings. If you are married, you have had ambivalent feelings. It's part of life. It's what drives us. I started this last 7 weeks in Prague and have been doing nothing but giving talks. I gave a talk at Emory last week. I got up and my planes were late coming here. I was in a bad mood. So when I got here last night, I had some ambivalent feelings, okay? Ambivalent feelings toward courses are simultaneously positive and negative feelings about the course or the instructor. There are some good things and there are some bad things. Interestingly enough, all of our research suggests that those students who are ambivalent about courses are the most reflective about the courses they're taking. They're most analytic and most reflective. My greatest example of ambivalence is a questionnaire framed in my office. Did you like your online course? No. Did you learn anything in your online course? No. Did you like the instructor in your online course? No. Would you take another online course? Absolutely. the classic expression of ambivalence. Our job as faculty members is to ameliorate that ambivalence toward these courses. All right. The reasons for satisfaction. Convenience is number one. Hundreds of focus groups. Reduced logistics demands, which would apply here. I don't think they can find a parking place better here than they can on my campus. I see those garages and I know what's going on. Increased learning flexibility. These kids now have a sense of agency and they want multiple paths to getting to the final way. And they love the technology. Questions I'm getting on questionnaires now, here's two. Why do we need semesters? Isn't that an interesting question? Why do we need semesters? And secondly, can I finish early? Which is also a reasonable question. What's the answer to why we need semesters? You know what the answer is? Because we have semesters. That's the answer. We don't know. We don't know. My friend Lance Lochner, who is a social economist at the University of Western Ontario, looked at this and said, Chuck, this is a reduced opportunity cost for getting an education. Do you know opportunity cost? That's an economic term. You're paying an opportunity cost for coming here. You can't answer your phone, you can't do your work. That's the opportunity cost, okay? There's no negatives at UCF, only less positives. There it is on top. I love the convenience, but I lament the face-to-face. It's as simple as thing. What they see in that is they hate it when it breaks, and it always breaks. It always breaks. They see a reduced opportunity cost. Okay. Oh boy. I do love you. Do you remember your Tolstoy? All happy families are alike. Every unhappy family is unhappy in its own unique way. One of the greatest lines in all of literature. Greatest lines of all of literature. What did he mean by that? I haven't a clue. No, I do. In order for a family to be happy, a number of things must be resolved. Attractiveness, sex, money, in-laws, children, work, religion, trust, leisure time, right? Happy families pretty much have resolved all of them. Any one of them can derail a family. You know what I'm saying? You love your partner, you hate your mother-in-law. That's a problem, you know? This is going to come out bad. Sex is great, but we don't have any money. You know, any one of them can derail. That's called the Anna Karenina phenomenon. The Anna Karenina phenomenon. Another book, which is a must-read that you should have read by now, by Jared Diamond, it's called Guns, Germs, and Steel. Whoa. Yeah, but, you know, she said, yeah, but. It is really the best exposition of why cultures gravitated from a west to east, or east to west trajectory, and what caused the rise of cultures. You know, if I can't be Stephen Johnson, I want to be Jared Diamond, you know? Or if not, I'll be Walter White. What the heck? Okay. All right, now, what this was then, one of the things that caused the rise of cultures was the domestication of mammals. Do you see that? If you domesticate animals, you don't have to move around. You can farm, you can live, you can do all kinds of things. You can live in a group, and there are side effects. Then you can cause diseases, you know, that kind of thing. But this is interesting. There are 149 large mammals. Only 14 have been domesticated, and only 5 worldwide. Cows, horses, sheep, pigs, and goats. Okay, now, in order for a mammal to be domesticated, certain things have to be met. Here they are. They have to grow quickly, they have to breed in captivity, they cannot have a nasty disposition, not be susceptible to panicking in captivity, they must be able to live in herds, they must have a dominance hierarchy and be able to imprint on man and not be overly territorial. All that must be met. Okay, now, grizzly bears would be a good source of protein It's the imprint on man thing that's a problem. Zebras would be a great, great source of protein. Have you ever been face to face with a zebra on the Serengeti? Don't go there. There are nasty, nasty animals. Thompson's gazelles, hundreds of millions of them. All the protein we need. Freak out in captivity. Absolutely freak out. That's the Anna Karenina phenomenon. All right, now, I see a lady who asked a very insightful question in the quality section about the student voice. What do we do about the student voice? So we did an Anna Karenina study for the Sloan Foundation, finding the elements, working with students that identify a course that has quality. Do you want to see them? Good, because I'm going to show them to you. Here they are. We worked with students. One is you must reduce the ambivalence in students about the value of your course. My wife took multivariate statistics from me. Bad idea. I did one of the most brilliant lectures on hierarchical linear models that I ever did in my life. And she was in the back of the classroom and went. We drove in separate cars to class after that night. Ambivalence. Ambivalence. Let me paraphrase it for you. I'm not going to have any idea what you're talking about in this class. What do I have to do for an A? You know, that's the ambivalence portion of it. It breaks my heart when someone takes my class and say, I'm taking it to get this out of the way. Yeah, that's ambivalence. They must see an enriched learning environment. You know, you can't just lecture to them anymore. You can't use the yellow notes. They're not buying it. You know, even if you lecture face to face, you've got to integrate other things. They really want to know the rules of engagement. What is it going to take for me to navigate this course? I need to know it and I need to be clear, okay? I want to see that somehow you're committed to my learning. If you're not, fake it. They need to see that. And they want respect and concern. You know, they're not numbers out there. And they want engagement, both by you, and they want you to engage them. And they want learning latitude. We're doing a pilot in adaptive learning. They want multiple paths to a final solution. You can have this paper. It's really, all right, last topic. This is my favorite quote from Rate Your Professors. This is my favorite quote from Rate Your Professor. I love it. I love it. I love that thing. I love it. We have a blog where faculty are sharing with each other the one comment a student made about you that has stayed with you the remainder of your life. You know it. You know it. Mine is, Chuck Jubin is a very smart man. He may be even as smart as he thinks he is. Doesn't that tell you something about my persona? Doesn't that tell you something? That adjusted my behavior. Toot sweet. Okay, here's some quotes from UCF. Really positive stuff and really negative. My favorite at the bottom here. This is my favorite on our campus. Boring, biased, boring, arrogant, boring, self-absorbed. And did I say boring? Isn't that great? Oh man, something's wrong with my notes. Oh, let's see. Oh no, this is not from UCF. This is from MSU. I went on Rate My Professors and looked at you. Now you're all saying, I wonder who that is. Yeah, I wonder which one that is. This is from your campus. All right. The form. I'm pointing at you. What's your name, ma'am? Vicky? Mickey? Mickey with an M, okay. Mickey with an M asked a question about what are we going to do about the student voice and quality? Here's our form. You have a form, but it's the same form. I've been on 10 blue ribbon committees and we've written the same form. We'll have another one and we'll write the same form. We'll change the articles and do the same form. No one will be happy with it and we'll do the same form. Okay, students tell me I do this for every class. I feel like a robot. I never see any impact of it. I do it and do it and do it, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we did a study, and what we did is this. We took, and I'll quit after this. We took the form, and we took well over 1 million student responses. And we had 16 items on our form, and the last one is the overall evaluation of the instructor. Okay, you probably have that here too. And what we used to predict was the college you're in, the level, lower undergraduate, upper undergraduate, or graduate, and the other 15 items on the form. Are you with me? Can you use that to predict? Come on, Michael, we're going till 3. Okay. Can you use to predict with classification and regression trees, heavy data mining? Here's the rule that came out. You're looking at it. And it's in a paper called Dr. Fox Rocks. Because if they like you, you rock. Okay. If they give you excellent on facilitation of learning, they give you excellent on communication of ideas, and they give you excellent on your respect and concern for students, the probability is virtually 1 that your overall rating will be excellent, irrespective of anything else in the world. Now that's hard to believe, but it's true. That rule is unbreakable. Here's our colleges. On the left-hand column is a proportion of overall ratings of excellence in our colleges, some of our colleges. Education with a high of 59, engineering with a low of 39. And the engineers say to our educators, you give all A's, that's why you get good ratings. And the educators respond with, if you try teaching once in a while, you get better ratings. That's the dialogue. Okay, that's on the left without the rule. Now I harvest everybody who conforms to the rule and put them back in their colleges. Do you see what happens? They all get excellent ratings. It's true with modalities, Mickey, with an M. Okay? It's true with class size. Can't break the rule. 1 more minute, okay? 1 more minute. What's that? That's the probability of your winning the Colorado lottery. That is 10 standard deviations out. That's the probability of 10 standard deviations happening. This is what I show my wife Judy when she buys a Florida lottery ticket. I said, Judy, your chances of winning are only marginally greater than if you'd never been born. All computer programs in social science and others set this equal to 0. Particle physics and others do not. Okay? What's her response to that? Say it aloud. You can't win if you don't play. Somebody wins. The other book on your must-read list is The Black Swan. Nassim Taleb. Okay, Black Swan. Black Swan is a totally unpredicted event. You know, we spend billions of dollars trying to predict, and the things that affect our life are the things we can't predict. It just is true. These are black swans. Okay? These are black swans. Nobody predicted 9/11. Okay? Nobody predicted Google. Nobody predicted Harry Potter. We could have predicted if, but the point is we didn't. We can't predict them. A casino spends hundreds of millions of dollars building a risk management algorithm, and a tiger drags their star performer off the stage by his head. That was never in the model, ever. Okay, do you know what the best damn keynote I ever gave? I am so sorry. I keep getting feedback. I really apologize. Okay, here we go. You know what the next black swan is? We have no idea. We have no idea what this is going to do. Okay. I know, Michael. I know. I'm going to read 2 things to you and then I'll quit. History has its epic thresholds, where a world is transformed in a matter of minutes. A leader is assassinated, a volcano erupts, a constitution is ratified. But there are other, smaller turning points that are no less important. 100 disparate historical events converge on a single modest act. Some unknown person unscrews a handle of a pump in a street in a bustling city, and in the years and decades that follow, 1,000 changes ripple out from that simple act. It's not that the world changes instantly, that change itself takes on many years to become visible. But the change is no less momentous for its quiet evolution. That's what you're doing right now. That is what you're doing. You're changing us forever. God bless. You are the best audience I ever had.